Merlin and Arthur sat by the campfire one night as Pan told the tale of the most dangerous of their enemies. Many would believe that dragons are things of fiction, but remarkably they are not. The name is that of an ancient enemy long since forgotten. Speaking the name leaves a sense of dread suspended in the air. Singe, the dragon lord. Arthur looked up at Pan and asked him, "Do you know where they came from, these dragons?" Arthur couldn't resist asking, "And how do you know these things?" "It's as if you were there." Pan simply smiled and said, "That's because I was lad. I was there and saw them. Great beasts they were." Pan trailed off and thought Arthur looked baffled. "But how can that be? That was 300 million years ago, you said." Pan looked at Aliana, and Merlin Aliana shrugged and said, "We might as well either way. He will be our savior or our destroyer." Aliana said, "Okay, I'll go first." She raised her hand and streams of light flowed from her hands as she said, "Abrax Shatterax." And the illusion of Aliana's form faded to reveal a small-looking bug hovering where she stood. Arthur exclaimed excitedly, "I've seen those in the marshland near Dartmoor. It's a dragonfly." Merlin then smiled. "Wait till you see this then. Now don't be scared, lad, we won't hurt you." Then Merlin said the same words as Aliana, and his form faded. In its place stood a huge four-legged beast with a giant boulder on his tail. Arthur stumbled back onto the ground. Pan said, "Calm down, boy, we won't hurt you." Arthur turned back around, and Merlin and Aliana had turned back into their human-like forms. Aliana told Merlin, "Dear, you still have something in your mouth." Merlin reached up and pulled a leaf from the side of his lip. "Sorry, I was hungry." Then Arthur turned back around to look at Pan, but the satyr wasn't there. Instead, there was a rather large lizard-like creature with sharp teeth and snake-like slit pupils for eyes, and a large retractable claw on each foot. It looked at Arthur, cocking its head from side to side, looking at him with one eye on the side of its face and then the other. Suddenly, there was a rolling scroll of strange letters that hovered around it as it suddenly shifted back into the satyr form. "Cursed mountain of bones in the valley of shadows," Aliana spoke softly. "I see the curse is still going strong." Pan stomped his cloven hooves on the ground. "Damn your old magic chaos." Arthur stood looking at Merlin, half expecting to see this chaos to show himself. But Merlin said, "Chaos says we must go over to the river to see him." Aliana said, "Well, this should be interesting." They walked to the nearby river, and Merlin pointed to the reflection on the surface. Merlin's eyes glowed as chaos spoke through him with a vibration of energy that was covering and amplifying his voice. Images of many objects appeared in this swirling black cloud that appeared in the reflection behind them. But above the cloud was what looked like a child covered in a silk-red sash. The child had a seemingly innocent smile, unless you looked closely, and would see mischief was beneath that smile, not joy or happiness. Then there was a fig tree with what looked like ambrosia fruit hanging from it, and a serpent appeared with the same glowing eyes. The people and scenes would appear, and then dissolve back into the smoke of the cloud. Each image always had a person with glowing eyes somewhere in the image. Merlin then spoke, "I have been here since the dawn of time." The reflection then showed a small light appear in a darkness. The light blinked out and then exploded with streaks flying in all directions as a cloud then hovered in the darkness with flashes of light. It looked like a nebula cloud, and the flashes of light in the cloud glowed in rhythm, with the voice coming from Merlin. "I have been since the origin of existence, and even before that. This form you see here is just within the capacity of what creatures in this physical realm can understand. The light faded from Merlin's eyes and his voice returned to normal. Merlin paused for a moment and then said, "I now understand." Arthur and the others looked at him and asked him what he realized. Merlin seemed in a daze. "Chaos, it's trying to lure the warrior of the light out to reveal himself. The warrior thinks they are enemies, but Chaos had told him long ago they were allies, and all this is proof to what he said." A bright blast of light appeared above them as a form took shape in the light and descended with 1 foot upon the water and 1 foot upon the ground, and then walked on to the river bank.
Show yourself then, serpent. I am not afraid to answer your challenge. To challenge you means to protect the innocent and the naive that do not see an adversary of faith when they meet one. Chaos appeared from the wisps of air behind Merlin and just materialized. You're not regulating my manifestations. We cannot appear before man. You know the rules. The angel stretched out his wings, and a sword similar to Arthur's sword just appeared in the angel's hands, wrapped in flames. You and your kind were commanded to those rules. We archangels are not bound by rules, for we work the will of the Almighty. We appear as he wills us to. So rules do not apply to us as they do you. Chaos scoffed at the angel's words. You're not Lucifer. You're Michael, I've heard of you. The darkness was trying to take a form similar to the angels. We are not enemies, Michael. Didn't you invite me into this to help me? The angel stood with sword in hand and stared down at Chaos with piercing blue eyes. Do not play games with me, spirit of contempt. All are worthy of salvation. Whether you truly seek it and are willing to reach when it's offered is all he was curious about. Michael stretched out his sword arm with the tip at Chaos' throat. Don't think I will not smite a puppet. Spirit of contempt. Suddenly, what looked like a human stepped out, Michael. Is this the way you approach them all? Michael seemed confused. Who are you, human? And how did you end up here? The man continued unconcerned with any danger that might be. I'm the mystery child of prophecy. Michael hesitated for a moment, confused. The man continued speaking. The time of Enoch's prophecy is here. The wicked are frantic, and you and your angels must stand before the throne of judgment. I just had to see for myself what was being claimed. And with that, the man simply vanished.
Merlin waved his hand, as if to dismiss the scenario that just unfolded. Pay it no attention. Distractions meant to divert our focus. Arthur asks, so what are you? Magical birds, bugs, and beasts. Merlin looked at Aliana. I think it was too much for his mind to handle. Pan sat and invited Arthur to sit down and hear the tale of the hidden ones who live among man unseen. Come here, lad. I shall tell you how this was possible. Arthur sat down and listened. A long time ago, there came something, not from this world. They came and lived here and built cities here. They tried to live among us and took some of our kind to their cities and made them stronger, smarter than the rest of us. Then they sent them back to where they came from. However, those still untouched by these visitors watched and learned some of their ways. Magic was one of them. We learned, we adapted it, and made it a tool to be used by us. We used it to regain our freedom and tried to take this world back from them, but we lost and were cast down to be cursed with these limitations placed upon us, and all others like us were almost wiped off the planet. Yet we survived. One of those great disasters destroyed the world with fire and the ground opening up into a large abyss, and we who once ruled this earth were cast down into the fires below. Aliana then spoke. We are a handful of the few who were lucky enough to survive the great disaster. We learned various methods that eventually allowed us to survive beyond our physical form's lifespan. Our kind are still here, But we decided long ago when we first saw your kind come from the cities themselves to keep our presence unknown to your kind. We did not know if you could be trusted. Merylin then spoke. They still are not sure if they can trust you. However, we have been here a very long time, and we know that we can. You have a heart of gold, my lad, the type that does not turn its back on those they call friend, a heart that does not betray or fall to evil. Arthur looked at them and decided it does not matter what they look like or where they came from. It's their heart that matters most, and these are his friends. Each one would lay down their life for him without a second thought, as he would for them. That is something more valuable than any precious jewel or object. Arthur spoke up. I just realized something about what your father had told us. Pan, he spoke of a time when my table of counsel would have no corners. Pan nodded for a moment as he agreed. Yes, lad, but my guess was he was talking about a chain of command, a kingdom not ruled by one, but by the many as one. Arthur shook his head no. I don't think that's what he meant. He looked at his friends and said, this. I think this is what he meant. As we travel on this journey, I am noticing that we have no leader. We all agree in the best interest of us. Not any one of us is higher or lower. There is no one privileged or dependent. We all support each other in what ways we can when needed. We accept that we are divided, instead of labeling ourselves to outline the division. We are individual, but we are also united when it's necessary. We truly have no corners at our table. Pan saw the wisdom in it. Yes, lad, you're right. He told us that your kingdom must be united by a council of men made of this belief here. The way for that is made simple, to go and find men who believe in upholding a life lived by what is right, and gather them under the banner of this method of holding a court for its people. Aliana finally understood and said, yes, a court of the table round. I like the sound of that peaceful yet maintaining order and balance, Malek. This even upholds to Fae beliefs. My father would be most interested to hear of this concept, which is good because he is the only one I know who can lead us to the Order of the Dragon. Then Merylin said with sarcasm in his voice, yea, let's go and see the Seelie Council then. Yea. Aliana smacked him on the arm. He may have the courtesy and kindness of a jackal, but he's still my father. Merylin stood in shock. My dear, I think that's the first time in eons that I've heard you defend your dad. Aliana glared at Merylin. Don't push it, she said with obvious danger in her tone. Her eyes stayed locked to his as she haphazardly gestured to open the portal to the Seelie Council.